What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bucks on Deck podcast episode. I'm Anthony Murphy. With me, as always, Nola Jeffy. Nola, what's going on, man?
Same shit, different day.
Yeah, I heard. Anything fun happened today? You do some exciting stuff.
Just more housework stuff that impromptu popped up that I needed to try and get done, and then my son being my son.
Fair enough. I had another day of I think I'm gonna go to bed after I do the NS9 show, and then I don't go back to bed. So like by 6 o'clock rolls around, the Pirates game getting ready to start. I'm like, ooh man, I should have taken that nap because
Probably.
I'm tired. Yeah. So
You need to sleep off that dub from yesterday.
yeah. Good times. Little I played the Pokemon trading card game on there. Won me a little tournament over the weekend. So that was good. Good times. But yeah, this weekend was actually last couple. And I guess it's a good thing. Like most shows, like record their stuff like Sunday night, and then going into Monday. It's kind of a good thing that we hold off till Monday nights to do it because the big news of the day we get to talk about it mostly before like most other people. But Oneil Cruz getting shifted to center field, and I think I'm going to speak for myself here that it's been a couple years coming, I guess, on there.
I believe so.
What were your initial thoughts when you finally heard the news that they're going to be making the move?
The Cruz news?
Yeah.
I I've thought it's a long time coming. I guess we could expand on it quite a bit here as we go on, but I know NS9 did one of their emergency podcasts. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I caught a good chunk of Tyler going on his rant about it. But in short, we'll say I agree on a lot of the reasons and things that he says. Because to me, it's a larger standing issue than just whether Cruz should be shortstop or center field. It's something that goes back to, I think, even my issues with Neil Huntington's tenure. But, yeah, all in all, I think it should have been done, and I hope it works out.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing because I think it's been pretty well known that, they gave that a shot when he was in Indianapolis a couple years ago. And I think it was pretty well known that he didn't respond to it too well. Mm-hmm. So it'll kind of be interesting how he takes to it here. I think I read something too that he wasn't, I don't want to say like upset or anything like that, but like obviously he sees himself as a shortstop. So getting told that you're not going to be a shortstop anymore, I'd imagine he was a little bummed out about it. But I mean, like I said, and like you said, we all thought this was probably coming. Or those who've watched him, and most people, like maybe, he makes all the nice plays and the plays that probably stand out and stuff like that. But I think in the end, this will be a better fit for him. It should be a better fit for him. It could be a better fit for him. And like, I'll touch on the offense, like just slightly with it. Cause I know I mentioned it previously, but like he's here to hit. And wherever you stick them in the field, that doesn't change. Like I mentioned it one morning that I was on, like the amount of outfielders that have like 30-30 potential is very low. It's lower than people think. So like there's still a lot of value there to have, even if he's obviously, yes, having a 30-30 shortstop would be amazing. It would be incredible. But having a 30-30 shortstop does nothing for you if you have a bunch of center fielders that have like a WRC plus of like 40 or 50. Like,
that'd be good probably at this point for them. Because
I don't know what
out there.
I don't know what Michael A. Taylor was at last time, but like I last time I checked, whenever I wrote up the thing there, I think he was like in the high 40s, low 50s. I'm pretty sure Bay's even lower than that. So I don't know what Swinsky was at when he was up here, but yeah, the center field picture has been a mess, and this shores that up. And at least for next year, yes, like you get more value out of like Isaiah kind of bouncing around everywhere. There's more value in him doing that. But if you can get league average production out of shortstop, and then what out of him, and then what Cruz can potentially do in center, I think as a team you're better off that way than having Cruz at shortstop doing what he's doing, and then just a bunch of nothing in center. Like you're only dragging your team down at that point in that way.
Right. So. And I mean, I know there was some minor discussion about it in the comments for tonight's game thread, Monday night's game thread. And like when you look at things like defensive run saves and outs above replacement, when it comes to like defensive run saves, you know, people will kind of look at that, like Ellie De La Cruz and Oneil Cruz are kind of similar, which the thing to know about defensive runs saved is that DRS very heavily weighs errors. So a player with a lot of errors is going to have a bad DRS. Whereas outs above average is more based on the probability of a play being made. So the reason why a Ellie De La Cruz has a really bad DRS but a phenomenal outs above average is because he makes like not even just above average plays, he makes like a shit ton of ridiculous plays on top of above average plays. And his biggest issue has been, you know, the routine grounder type of stuff where we see Oneil will take like 3 crow hops and then rip it 105 over the first baseman's head. So in that sense, they're relatively similar. But when it comes to the more like elite plays, Ellie's making those and Oneil Cruz isn't making enough of them to offset the errors he's making. Where then taking that to IKF, he actually had 2 straight seasons, one with Texas, one with the Yankees, where he played over 1,000 innings at shortstop. And both years he had a plus 10 DRS. The year with the Rangers was a -6 OAA. And with the Yankees, I think it was either a -1 or a 1. But he should be fine at shortstop. I mean, he's probably not going to wow us in the same way Cruz would, but he's been. I mean, those are his 2 biggest seasons. He did after tonight. Those are the only other season outside those 2 where he's had over 150 innings at shortstop. So the downside is the fact that, you know, his bat has fallen back to his career norms. So that's where they get hurt. But back to Cruz, I mean, you and I have been kind of on the same wavelength about this for however long. I mean, as long as we've known each other, basically, that
pretty much,
he has 30-30 potential. I don't give a shit where he's at. Like, a right field, center, left. I mean, I wouldn't put him at first or DH, provided until we find out that, okay, maybe he's really bad everywhere and nothing else is going to really cut it either. Then it's like, you know, just let him mash. Yeah. But I like the idea with his athleticism, his obvious cannon, to where he should have a little more leeway ripping a ball from the outfield than from shortstop. His arm should, you know, stop runners from taking extra bases. And again, something else in the comments we were talking about is if one thing that I think they could do to try and mitigate the corner's potential fear of him running aimlessly is let let the corners play closer to the line and just give the gaps to Cruz and be like, all right, let's see what you got. I mean, at this point in the season, if some balls drop in the gap that maybe Reynolds would have had if he was playing straight up, so be it. Like, just let Oneil's athleticism play and see what he can do at this point.
Yeah. And then too, when you think about it too, like defensively, when you're so like any ball that makes it to the outfield and stuff like that, like the center fielder has like first dibs on it. So like if he has it, he like at that point, if he thinks he has it, he just calls them off and like it's his. So like I like you said, like I feel like in the comments on Bucks on Deck, there's a lot of concern about like added collisions in the outfield, but like the center fielder is going to get dibs on all of that stuff. So like it shouldn't be an issue because like if he thinks he's going to get to it, then he just says, I got it, and everyone at that point is supposed to back off. And if Cruz was the guy that they were having issues with not backing off in those situations when someone else was calling for it, that just kind of shores itself up because he's the one calling for it now. So I don't think that will be as much of an issue.
And and like you said, he's going to be kind of the captain of the outfield. So if he's coming in full force, it's his ball. It's just, hopefully they just beat into his head. Like, if you think you even have a shot at it, just start calling it. Let the other player get out of the way and just start calling it.
Yeah. Because, too, especially on the flip side, too, like if he doesn't call for it, then yes, maybe there is some issues there because someone at his size running at his speed, that is quite the collision potential there. So, but as long as he's calling for it and they make it a clear point to be like, if you think you're going to have it, call for it, then I don't think there'll be an issue with it. The biggest thing we'll have to worry about is him learning to make sure he's taking like proper routes and stuff like that, usual stuff. Like the only issue I have with this in general is I feel like the timing of it is just weird or odd. Is like before you even factor in that like Cherington kind of doubled down on him playing shortstop. What was it, like a week ago, basically?
Yeah, that's one of the things Tyler was going into about it's like, how many times this year, like the whole like we have money, no, we don't have money, like he's our shortstop. Actually, he's not our shortstop. Like how many times this season, like where's this disconnect that so many of these instances are happening in this season?
I have theories on that we could get to on like other but it just feels like it's just a train wreck going on up there right now. Like people are saying one thing, other things are happening. They doubled down on Cruz at short. Now all of a sudden he's in center. It's just a mess.
And I mean the other thing I was thinking too is just in terms of if he's going to be receptive to it or not. I mean, at that point in the minors, all the hype and everything, I have to imagine ego probably played a lot into it. Mm-hmm. Whereas he's a couple years older now. He's been through a major ankle injury, which I'll touch on that in a second too. But, I mean, he's a big leaguer. He's here. Yeah. He's established. So he might be more receptive to it where it's like, okay, I'm a big leaguer. Let me just do what I need to do. If that's where I need to play to provide for the team, then whatever. I mean, center field's it's not shortstop, but it's still one of the premier like positions on the field. And on the ankle, I mean, I know you and I had a minor discussion on it earlier today initially, and then I've seen some other comments on it with regards to his ankle. And at least my perspective is I think being in the outfield will be easier on his ankle. I mean, he might have to turn for a ball here and there, but shortstop, at least in my eyes, involves a lot more like planting, pivoting, making cuts to make plays. I think being in the outfield will be easier on his ankle than playing shortstop.
Yeah. Like we talked about it earlier today, and at first, like just first thought, like just random, like as soon as I heard it, it's like, okay, well, this kind of does feel weird to think because you think like maybe the more running would put some more wear and tear on it. But yeah, you're right with it. just the added planting and how quick you have to be with that step too, playing shorts, playing in the infield and stuff like that. If he's having, a bad day with it and he's not as quick with it, man, that's just so many extra balls that get by it,
Right.
in the infield and stuff like that. So,
and that's how I'm even just trying. I forget how I did the second one, but I've badly rolled both my ankles, and one of them was from playing dodgeball. Like, I went to throw balls right at the line, planted my foot right at the line, threw the ball, but my cleat stuck and my body kept going. So, and I just but and that's why when I played softball, I preferred to play the outfield. So how did I? Now I'm trying to think.
But like I just keep thinking back to like anytime the Cruz to the outfield talk comes, I just immediately think of that play back in 2021 when he was with Altoona in Erie. There's no like great video of it, but like you can kind of tell what happened. And was it Cody and I had Mason Martin on, and I asked him about it, and he kind of broke it down too with it. But like, there's for whatever reason, Oneil Cruz found himself in the outfield, basically chasing down like a ball that was hit down the line, chased after it, pretty much picked the ball up like not too far from the warning track as a guy was rounding third base. Like the guy had already like stepped on third and was like and heading home by the time Cruz picked up the ball, and he threw it from the outfield and nailed the guy. Just threw him out like it wasn't even close.
Well, that's right.
Like, since then, it's kind of like
it was actually Cannon Smith and Jigba in left field, and he was running back for the ball, and it hit off the wall, so it caromed off the wall real hard, and essentially rolled back to Cruz as he was running to the outfield, and he just picked it up and lasered it home.
Yeah, at first it was kind of like, Cruz, what? It's like, what are you doing out there, man? Like, why am I seeing you like right here? And then all of a sudden, like he has the ball and he's throwing it home, and like the announcer saying, "Oh, well, he's out at home," and it's like, oh my goodness, that was incredible.
Yeah.
And so like you mentioned earlier, like he's going to bring a whole different type of value there to the outfield that I feel like very few players are going to be able to do as well. So definitely
which I guess well, to kind of lead into probably one of my hottest takes I've had with regards to this, I'm using air quotes, rebuild. To me, I think the two most detrimental development failures of this organization has been Travis Swaggerty and Leo Verpigero. Because, I mean, whatever I could probably go on more about how just I don't know what they did. Something happened from Swaggerty's shoulder injury to when he came back in 2022. Health issues aside, like he just wasn't the same hitter.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had a future starting center fielder, and then just everything else would have worked its way. Would have worked its way into whatever. Like you would have had Reynolds in a corner already. You wouldn't have had to have Jack Sawinski in center field. He would have been probably in a corner. Who knows if he would have had a sophomore slump whenever he came up. You wouldn't be putting Cruz in center field now, but I mean, he might have been going to right field because, of course,
okay, there we go.
Okay. But like watching Pagero this year, like he's making some of like amazing plays at shortstop. Like he's making very difficult plays look very easy. Like he's been so smooth. Like I feel like this season has been, at least from a fielding perspective, the development you would have wanted to have seen in him. But for some reason, the bat just fell off a table. Like, and to me, he was kind of like a Oneil Cruz 2.0, a Cruz light, where he was probably a 2020 player.
He was a 2020 player technically.
Yeah, and
If you can
combine technically last year, yeah, all three levels, yeah, I think,
yeah.
And he could have been a starting shortstop, and then you would have been, again, that would have been Cruz moving to the outfield, and it probably could have happened sooner if Bagero had worked out. But now it's like, well, Cruz is finally going to center field at the same time, but it's like, I guess IKF is their shortstop for now. Who knows if they're going to do anything in the offseason? Because who's next? Chang?
He's got to hit out of AA first.
Yeah. 11 home runs, I think.
Something like that, yeah. Double digits. Yeah. Piguero, out of all the minor league games I've gone to since 2021, he's probably made some of the best defensive plays, and then at times also the worst defensive plays I've ever seen too. So,
I mean, I haven't watched every game this year, but like of what I've
looked better.
Yeah, you haven't seen the I guess mental lapses, or not necessarily mental lapses, the similar to like Ellie or Oneil, where the easy plays to where they just kind of take it as an easy play and then maybe take an extra crow hop and then just whip a ball into the dirt. So hasn't really been doing that.
He threw like a routine, like one of the games I was at in Richmond, he threw like a routine double play into like right field in the bottom of the ninth inning, and the Flying Squirrels won on a walk-off that way.
Hell yeah.
So yeah. But moving on to the next thing. I mean, we could probably talk about Cruz for a while, but moving on to the next topic. Another player, pretty much the theme the rest of the show is promotions. A lot of promotions going on. Henry Davis, I think maybe the biggest one, getting another opportunity with Joey Bart heading to the injured list. Henry Davis, of course, former first overall pick, has struggled a lot in the majors when he's gotten a chance. He's been hitting AAA, pitching well. On the season with Indy, he's hitting 307, 401, 555 with a 147 WRC plus, but has a 46 WRC plus in the majors. So quite the differential there.
Hell yeah.
What you've seen from him in AAA? What has your been thoughts, and do you have any hopes of anything being different this time around?
I have hopes of it being different. He's looked more like the Henry Davis of old coming up through this system. Mm-hmm. He's been mashing fastballs again, which I didn't understand that to begin with. I remember when people were complaining about it, and I think I even went back and found some other metrics from like last year. I'm like, no, like he's never had problems hitting fastballs. Heat, no problem. Up in the zone, no problem. Like all of a sudden this year, he developed some new holes in his swing and was getting fastballs blown by him. So I think it was Neil Walker had made a comment about maybe a loss of confidence, maybe trying to do too much, played a part in it. So hopefully he did what he needed to do. The data looks good. An expected WOBA 350. I mean, it's his WOBA's a 408, which is much higher than is expected, but even the expected is still really good.
Yeah.
So even if he regressed, it would still be very good. But he needs to translate that to the majors.
Yeah. The current and the WOBA's nice. The expected WOBA's good. The in zone contact rate has been solid. It's at 81.5% right now. The things that kind of pop up to me is he has a 30% whiff rate and a 31.4 chase rate. So not ideal numbers. I know some of the games that I've watched, it's been weird because, like you said, like all of a sudden it feels like he's developed an issue with fastballs at time, and like a couple of the games that I watched, it was like he was hitting these breaking balls down in the zone, and I think he even hit like a double or a home run or something like that off of it. And then like there'd be some of these like 91, 92 mile an hour fastballs that would just kind of tie him up, or like he wasn't expecting it, and they'd blow him by it. And it's like, okay, well, you probably shouldn't be against those kind of fastballs. But I don't know. At this point, he's obviously done everything he can in AAA. I don't think there's much there for him. It's I don't know. Got to see. This is his opportunity. He's got an opportunity to do something, and he's got to do something with it.
Yeah. Which, again, could lead down another rant, because being that he's probably another prospect of theirs to where you question the defensive position, if that should have been where he stayed through his development. Joey Bart's down, so he's got the rest of the season to show what he's got, which will make next year interesting. Since, I'd have to imagine at this point, you presume that Bart's your number one catcher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Endy's coming back. That throws another, hat into the ring. But, I don't know. I never felt too confident in the defense to begin with. I felt better of it coming into this season, but I still was never very confident of it. Even this year, who was pitching the other day? Was it Harrington? And I think there was like a foul tip, strike three pitch that he 100% should have had, and it just popped out of his side. I'm like, come on, man! Like, you got to get that. But
I think the thing that kind of was unfortunate with the way that they approached his development and moving him through the minors is that they put him on the fast track because of the offense, and the offense is struggling now. And because they did that, they took shortcuts with the defense. And we know, catchers you're okay with, even like the college ones, you're okay with kind of letting them go level by level because they're learning how to, it's more than just hitting for them. There's a lot more than hitting. It's like it's the only position to where there's multiple things ahead of your offensive game at that point. So they fast-tracked him because of the bat. So he lost out on a lot of defensive development time. And now it's kind of like playing catch-up with it. And like it's funny that we're talking about this now after watching that game most of that game on Monday where the Cubs stole like 7-8 bases. I don't even know how many they ended up with. But Henry Davis, I looked at it. He's only thrown out one base stealer this year on like 37, 38 attempts. And then, like you said, with the miss on the foul tip, not catching that, and it, I don't know. I don't feel like they did him any favors with the way that they handled that situation.
And I don't like it. That's one issue I've had with especially their developmental of position players. There's players that clearly shouldn't be at certain positions, which is, I think I made a tweet about it yesterday with Termarr's promotion. I guess I tweeted about it Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That I'll be curious to see if they give him shortstop time in Altoona. They shouldn't, but knowing them, they probably will.
Oh, he will. 100% bet he plays at least 6 games. I bet you he plays at least 2 games at short this week.
Yeah, and then we could go into Nick York, who came in only ever having played second in left field, and now he's played second, third, left, center, right. Like they're like giving him the tour of Indy. Yeah. It just, I don't know. It's one of those things that, there's utility players, but it feels like one of those things where they're trying to do the same thing with everybody, and they're like, "We want you to know every single position." It's like, if you want these guys to succeed, get them into a position to succeed, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and they definitely, I feel like they definitely didn't do that with Davis, and now too, like even looking long term with it, you put yourself in even more of a bind because like now Davis has missed out on all that time to develop defensively. We don't know what Endy is going to look like behind the plate when he comes back. Like there are some success stories with catchers coming back from Tommy John, but like I think the success rate has been pretty low. So, at the least, it's been like the lowest of like all the other positions. Like we've seen Bryce Harper now convert to first base because of it, and so now Davis is messed up defensively. You could probably say it's always been that way or whatever like that. But even that aside, now if you lose like Endy as an option, like now you're putting more pressure on Davis to try to catch. I don't know. I just don't like how they've approached this entire thing with him.
Yeah,
and now we're at a point where the first overall pick from a draft, it's kind of like I won't say make or break for him because like we've seen it what would like Joey Bart solve things later, but also too he kind of solved it with a different team technically. So
yeah, when Henry Davis might be somebody else's Joey Bart in a couple years.
Yeah, that's where it could easily end up, especially if Joey Bart keeps hitting, and then if like Endy comes back and he shows that he can still catch, because I think defensively you obviously would prefer a full 100% Endy Rodriguez beats out Henry Davis defensively like 100 times out of 100. I feel.
Yeah, well, and that's where I kind of tie it back to what I said earlier, to where one of my biggest issues with this front office, similar to the issues I had with the Huntington office, to where like they have done such a poor job developing contingency plans. Like if this doesn't work out, what's plan B? What's plan C, D, E, F? Like their path to success is like everything better work out the way we planned. If it doesn't, we're shit out of luck. And they're hitting the shit out of luck point in the season, where you got Domingo Germán getting torched, and Brady Feigl comes in and gets torched. That I'm expecting a double Eichhoff deal.
Possibly, could be. Adios.
Yeah,
I feel like we could be heading, and like I don't want to think too far in the future, but doesn't a opening day 2025 feel like we can get Joey Bart and Jason DeLay as our like catching in tandem going as far as opening day?
But it's funny you say that because I was literally just thinking that, to where you maybe try to let's say Endy's healthy and they decide, hey, you've been getting reps at first base, you're a athletic kid, we think you can handle it, you're first base. Then right field and DH is some form of Henry Davis and Brian De La Cruz.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean that can very much happen, and that's probably
DeLay and Bart are your catchers.
Yeah, that can I feel like that certainly can head down that way if Davis can't figure something out defensively, because for as bad as we keep saying he was at catching, like he was one of the worst right fielders in baseball last year in just about every single metric. So
have you watched Brian De La Cruz in right field?
They got like the all bad. They're gonna put up like they're gonna set records for like the defensive play there.
Did you watch Edward Olivares in right field? Have we talked about how they clearly don't care about defensive efficiency?
That's true. That is true. But I guess my last thought on it, is with Henry Davis and Endy Rodriguez, wouldn't it be insane? And like I know with Endy, it's injury related as to probably the reason. But in 2023, they were talking about how to get playing time for both of them in Indianapolis. Like moving them around and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now there's a chance that in 2025 we still may be talking about like how best to use them both in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily a case of how can we get them playing time in Pittsburgh. It's like, should they be in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, because like I'm a big Endy guy, but it's like,
right.
And he played fine for like a rookie catcher coming up, having to worry about the defensive stuff and like I said, putting the offensive stuff aside and stuff like that. But I don't think by any means he's a lot going into next year, especially when you add in the fact that he's going to have options as well. You can just as easily just send him back down.
Yeah, so, and he wasn't exactly his 2022 season where he lit everything on fire. He wasn't exactly doing that again in 2023.
No. He'd come back to earth quite a bit, and like that like I don't think because of where he was at, we didn't get a lot of like exit velocity numbers and stuff like that. But like he wasn't really hitting the ball very hard in Indy last year. So like I think I put like the comparison with it, like he would have been like towards the bottom of the league when it comes to like average exit velocity. So I don't think he's a given, especially like if people are talking about putting him at first base. Like,
yeah. But. Well, that's my thinking is maybe he'll become the prospect that they decided to not draft, Trey Morgan. So,
yeah, I mean they did say that it looked like he bulked up quite a bit. So maybe he's the muscle that he's added and stuff like that. We'll see him drive the ball a little bit more. I just think there's a lot of unknown quantities with him at this point. So
a lot there is.
Yeah. So, but did you have anything else on Henry Davis and I guess Endy Rodriguez?
No, I hope it all works out.
Yeah. So shifting to some more promotions throughout the minors, we'll start with the obvious, the most recognizable name, Termarr Johnson, promoted to Double-A Altoona. He's had a season, certainly a season in Greensboro. 238, 372, 385. Slugging under 400 isn't, I guess, ideal for Greensboro. Walking a lot, not striking out much. 13 home runs, 20 stolen bases. I think is like the biggest surprise for me looking forward. He's really
when he got 4 or 5 of those this past week, didn't
he? Yeah. Oh yeah. He was very aggressive this past week. I feel like. So, I think there's one game where like the Greensboro overall, I feel like it's been a lot more aggressive on the base. Obviously, they have like Mitch Jebb there, but Termarr 20 stolen bases. I think the biggest thing for me, and like I pulled these numbers off of TJ Stats, and I know they're not going to be like 100% accurate, just because the way game day works and stuff like that, we don't get 100% accurate pitch locations. But 74.5 zone contact rate isn't great. That's actually worse than what it was in Bradenton. I think what it would have been last year.
Well, and it's actually almost
30%.
I'll say it's almost near identical to Lonnie White too, isn't it?
Yeah. Lonnie's, I think Lonnie's was like 70, 71, 72 or something like that. So take that for what it's worth with it. Lonnie White's struggles are a lot more noticeable and more well known. They're both hitting pitches inside the zone pretty much at the same rate at this point.
Right.
So the chase rate's climbing a little bit. The whiff rate's over 30%. There's some things to like he is such a, like even within a game, I feel like I'll watch him at bat and like, yeah, that was really good. He waited for his pitch, slapped it the other way, base hit, cool, awesome. And then he'll get like 3 curveballs in the zone and then not hit any of them and stuff like that. And it's just so back and forth with him. It's been hard to kind of get a feel for him there. And I don't know what your thoughts are on him.
But yeah, I mean, I guess kind of like you said, you see like 2, maybe 3 different batters and just the same at bat. To where, again, we're not entirely sure of the confidence in these numbers, particularly because of game day's not the greatest sometimes. But like his zone swing percentage is only 65.7, so it's like he's letting a lot of pitches go by. So he is a very patient hitter that does take a lot of walks. But then when he decides to swing, a lot of times it's like he really decides to swing. Like you even hear the announcers all the time. They're like, oh, he was trying to hit that one 500 feet. Yeah. And it's just, Double A is going to be a real test for him. Obviously a lot better pitchers with better stuff that know where it's going. He's going to go from a very, very friendly home park to a very, very not friendly, especially for left-handed hitters, home park in Altoona. So it's going to be a good test for him. He's going to probably have to, maybe get a little more aggressive and try and put balls in play.
That's what I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
And with someone with like Termarr too, like I feel like because he's so young, I see enough out of him to where like he's not going to move as quickly as I think some hoped or even some thought like originally when he was first drafted. But I do think he's the kind of guy that I'm okay with waiting maybe a bit longer for maybe things to click because like of the little bits and pieces we've seen. And I know John Draker threw something out there on Twitter the other day that he's never faced a pitcher younger than him. That's
wild.
Yeah. Never faced even going back to when he was in Bradenton, he's never faced a pitcher that was younger than him. So he's the kind of guy like I'm okay with waiting. I've kind of adjusted my expectation, maybe not expectations, but I kind of adjusted like what my overall thought is on him as like a prospect in general. And then I saw another thing too, where like Baseball America, I think it was Baseball America, mentioned that like his exit velocity numbers were down too. So he's a guy I'm willing to wait on. Like I like him getting the opportunity here, but I don't think that, especially now that it's so late in the season, I don't think this changes anything timeline for me as far as when he could get to the majors. I still think there's probably a very good chance that he's in AA all year next year with like the outside shot of, because, like the AAA season goes like an extra week or 2 longer than everyone else.
Right.
Maybe he gets up to AAA for that at some point next year, but.
Well, I think, what's going to be key in watching is a lot of pretty much what Long and Hankin has said with Fangraphs and even like Baseball America is I feel like he's, as they've said that, it seems like he's still kind of trying to decide what kind of hitter he's going to be.
Yep.
It's not going to be a situation of power and contact. It's a matter of like which one are you going to lean into? Either lean into the power or lean into the contact.
Yeah. I like that. And when he hits it. But just not been enough of that. We'll see how he does in Altoona this week. Give something exciting to. I think they have like 3 weeks left on their schedule. Next player, this one kind of fits in perfectly with Termarr going up, but I know you and I have been kind of calling for it in the group chat a lot lately. But Javier Rivas finally gets moved up to Greensboro. Yeah, frees up some space in the infield in Bradenton and gives Greensboro an actual shortstop now with Brannigan on the injured list still. So Rivas this year kind of he was always a guy that hit the ball really hard. It's just one, he wasn't making enough contact. Two, it was all on the ground. He was beating everything into the ground. This year, elevating a little bit more. That's led to 12 home runs, 19 doubles. The overall numbers still aren't great, but like his start of the season was so bad. I think it's at the point where there probably was no recovering from that. Like I think there was like a month into the season, he had like a negative WRC plus. It was like the
really,
worst in all of it.
Really bad.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. So what are your thoughts on Rivas and like Rivas moving up to Greensboro finally?
I mean, the quick and dirty is pretty much everything you said, to where it's just we'll see what happens with the bat. He doesn't walk a lot, strikes out a lot, but he does make some strong contact when he makes contact. So I mean, he's a player to where Greensboro could be a good park for him to flourish. Give us a little of that Greensboro hype that then lets us down in Altoona. But all in all, I mean the glove is probably about as elite as he's as elite defensively really as probably any prospect we've had in the system.
Yeah,
has been defensively. Yeah. Like there's few. I mean, what's he 2 inches shorter than Oneil?
Yeah, he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. He's
and
right
it's just
6'5".
Everything's so smooth, and the throws are pinpoint with heat behind them. Like he makes every play.
I love watching him play defense. Like it is so fun to watch him play with the glove. It's just waiting for. Do I think he's like an actual prospect at this point? No, probably not. But he's the type of guy that could hang around longer just because of that glove. And then like you kind of hope that maybe he catches lightning in the bottle at some point with the bat. And he has a little bit this year. Like 12 home runs down in Bradenton is fairly impressive.
I mean, he
guy who hasn't been really known for power beforehand.
And he only turns 22 in a week, or actually on Sunday he turns 22. So I mean, by no means is he an old prospect. He's it kind of falls in line with the whole. So I guess technically this would have been a junior year, maybe senior year.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean he's not old. There's he's still got another, I guess, year or two. Before it's just like, all right, maybe it's the prospect hype is worn out of, or not hype, prospect hope, I guess, is worn out. But I mean, we've seen some progress this year, so some development. So hopefully it, parlays and translates a level up, and just something pops and goes on a tear.
Yeah, the glove is there, so all he needs that helps with that helps your ceiling like in a lot. So if he can just find any kind of consistent success with the bat, like then all of a sudden you're kind of cooking with like a bench type player kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to watch. I'll be there. I think Greensboro's on the road this week, and then they're the last week of the season. I'll be there, so I'll get to see him play in Greensboro for the first time. So
nice.
That'll be fun. Another person that I'll get to see in Greensboro, Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy promoted to High A Greensboro has had I think the ERA obviously isn't, I guess 407 isn't horrible. 329 xFIP, 73 innings pitch, 26.6% strikeout rate, only a 5.3% walk rate, which is huge for him because he did struggle with the walks last season. So he's been able to keep the walks under control. He's a guy that I got to see in Bradenton when I was down there. And then I actually had a chance to talk with him as well. So, and he doesn't turn 20 till after the season. So he's getting a taste of High A as a teenager. So good to see. Good progress. Big leaps forward for him this year.
Yeah, I was actually really. I didn't realize how few batters he had walked. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was higher.
Yeah, I know. It was something like, was it like 18 batters he's only walked this year or something?
Something like that. Slow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with the stuff. He's obviously got one of them fastballs. You know, I mean, he told you that, you know, there's still a little extra in the tank, but doesn't throw particularly hard. But it's one of the fastballs with, you know, solid shape, especially coming from the left side, lower arm angle, the extension. So, I mean, yeah, he hasn't even turned 20 yet. So next year could be the year that it's like, all right, you know, add those extra 2-3 ticks on it now. So
yeah. So like the first year his first year when he pitched in the complex and he like finished up in Bradenton, like he was like 91, 92 with some 93 in it. But like the walks were really high. This year he's backed off a little bit. The walks has dropped. So I guess maybe next year you're hoping for maybe to kind of combine them both. Hope that like he can throw a little bit harder, but then like keep the control. And then like with how few people he's walking right now, he does have some. He can give a little bit of that back. Like he could sacrifice a little bit of this control right now for it, and still not really shouldn't run into issues.
He can even just be one of those where he adds and subtracts throughout a game too.
Yeah. So, but he you know, because he's talking to him like he's so into like pitch sequencing already this young and stuff like that, and the way he talked about like how he's able to work the sweeper off the fastball and all that kind of stuff, and how that's really helped with the velocity, even though he doesn't have the velocity, help it play up. Like his whiff rate on his fastballs near 30. I know it's dipped a little bit under 30%, but it's right at 30%, which for a fastball is really good. For a fastball that it averages 89, 90, that's really good for him to have. So
yeah.
Fun prospect. I'll be excited to get to see him pitch again on there. He missed a little bit of that time with that injury. So it'll be nice.
I think he's damn near doubled his like official innings, I guess we should say.
Yeah. He's at 73 now. I think he was at like mid 40s last year, something around
something like that.
Yeah, mid 40s, maybe like low, right at 50 when you combine like that with Braden or the complex and Bradenton together.
Yeah.
So, but those are the promotions, and now shifting. Last part. Do you have the weekly preview pulled up? You want to run through that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's been a pretty quick and painless one, or painful, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
Fair enough.
AAA Indianapolis Indians, they unfortunately dropped 4 of 6, so they fell a little further behind Columbus for the playoffs. But, you know, they'll get to take on our good friends, Cincinnati Reds AAA affiliate, Louisville Bats. This will be our first look at Rhett Lauder, who was recently promoted, which with Dylan Cruz, the other Cruz news of the evening, debuting Monday night for the Nationals. This actually leaves Rhett Lauder as the highest the highest drafted college player to yet debut, because obviously, you know, Skeens debuted, Cruz, Langford, Jacob Wilson. But he threw 6 shutout innings last week, 7 Ks. So it'll be interesting to see him, because obviously we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future.
Yeah,
he's only their second overall prospect now that they drafted Chase Burns. But aside from that, it's just a lot of guys that got a cup of coffee in the bigs, but, you know, either struggled or just got sent down for some reason. Like Reese Hins, who was promoted and then just was absolutely lasering the ball out of the park. Altoona for Termarr's debut. He's going to get to face off against good buddy Charles McAdoo.
Oh, nice.
Additionally, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats roster actually has quite a few recent trade deadline acquisitions. There's McAdoo, obviously came from the Pirates. Edison Paulino came from the Red Sox. Yohendrick Pinango, a Corey guy, came from the Cubs, actually along with Josh Rivera, who's also on the Fisher Cats. And then RJ Schreck, oh man, came the Justin Turner trade. So, yeah, they're out of it. They have no chance of making playoffs. So, Altoona is just for funsies at this point. Grasshoppers are playing the Braves, high A affiliate Rome Braves, who don't have much in terms of prospects, at least ranked. Owen Murphy, Cade Kohler are both on IL from Tommy John surgery. So it leaves them with 2 top 30 prospects, Adam Meyer and Blake Burkhalter, who are both, Burkhalter is returning from Tommy John surgery. Adam Meyer had a internal brace surgery for his UCL, partially torn UCL. Then the Bradenton Marauders will be playing the Tampa Yankees, who have 3 top 30 prospects per pipeline. Only 2 of them are healthy. The top one being Roderick Arias. He had been on a couple of top 100 lists at time here and there, but he fell off because he was struggling a bit. He's been absolutely mashing it, though, in the past 10 games. The biggest thing is that the Yankees have had 7 college draft picks debut, all hitters. So it'll be a kind of a battle between college draft picks because as of right now, the Pirates have had 7 debuts. So
nice.
Little 2024 college draft pick battle.
Battle of the college draft picks. And there's more playing time for them because Rivas is gone. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times. That's definitely an interesting week. We're winding down on the season. What is it? It's this week and next week for Greensboro and Bradenton.
Greensboro has
yeah. And then I think Altoona has one more week after that. Mm-hmm. And then I think like Indy would have like 2 weeks after that. So
wait, which the Rome Braves are actually kind of in the same situation as Greensboro where they won the first half title.
Mm-hmm.
Although Rome's been pretty bad the second half, so
yeah. Okay, well, that is pretty much going to do it for us. Nola, you got any Nola knowledge for us as we head out of here?
Well, you know me, I'm terrible at writing things down. I had something perfect the other day, but I was too damn busy doing other things, and by the time I was like, oh wait, I meant to write something down, and I forgot what it was. Yeah. I'd give some Nola knowledge tips on zip tying chicken wire to a fence, but I don't think I did a good job. So
you could teach from life experience next time what went wrong.
Yeah, I'll just be like, look at all these cuts in my arm. I didn't get any, but you know.
Yeah.
It's protruding in a way that I'm probably gonna walk by it, not paying attention, and cut myself.
Ooh, fun. Sounds like fun. But where can everyone reach you on the social media? I guess just the Bird app at this point.
The Bird app at Nola Jeffy, NOLAJEFFY. Mm-hmm. Things going on? Not much.
Yeah. That's fair. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at @double_Murphy88. Subscribe to Bucks on Deck. So like I said, I'm gonna be in Greensboro next week, so there'll be a lot of like live reporting as far as like observations and stuff like that. Hoping to talk to some people while I'm down there, and I'll come probably when I get back. Yeah, not tomorrow though. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the website so you get all the stuff sent to your email. Starting, I guess, Tuesday, whenever this comes out. Also, I'll be taking more of the involved role. I'll get started with things on DK Pittsburgh Sports as well. pitching in some minor league stuff and everything like that. So if you're signed up there, check me out there. And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a good one. We'll see you next week.